Howdy, gang. It's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Today we're talking about things I see but don't say. I feel like I just dropped into the Jerry Maguire movie. Things we see but don't say. It's things we think but never say. Something like that. All right, so let's jump in here, right? This conversation is a conversation in tough love, first of all. I just want you to know that going in, because what I'm about to share is pretty direct, right? And these things I'm going to share don't apply to all of you, and not all the things I'm going to share apply to all of you. However, some of the things I share might. So, one, what I'm going to share, if it does apply to you, then embrace it and see how you can rise, right, in your own situation. And if it doesn't apply to you, then take it on as a example or a encouragement to go out and to begin flexing the muscle of saying the things you see. Because a lot of us see things every day in others, and we don't say them because we're afraid to say them, right? We're afraid of the rejection, we're afraid of whatever, but ultimately it ends up making us feel small. When we see things and then we don't say them, I know this, I do this all the time. I see things all the time and I don't say something. And then as a result of it, I feel small, and I get to deal with not having taken responsibility for what I saw. So when things don't change because I didn't say something to the person in which I saw something, when things don't change, that's on me because I didn't take responsibility for it. So let's dive in, shall we? Here's the first, and I'm just giving you sort of a random smattering of things I see. I'm going to give you 4 specific things I see, but they are not always connected to one another. It's not like one person has all of these. So these are random, common, some of the most common things I see and don't say. Okay, the first one is that you're bad with time. You're bad with time. You show up late. You show up unprepared to things. And the problem with that is that it affects your credibility, right? Like, people don't trust you. Even if they don't say it to your face, they will leave and they feel like, I don't really trust that person. And it actually will affect your opportunities because they won't want to invite you to the party. They won't want to invite you to do business. They won't want to refer you. They won't want to do things because they don't trust that you're going to show up on time and be present with them or whatever the opportunity is. The second problem that I see and don't say is that you are indecisive. You are indecisive. This one drives me nuts. You see something that you want. You even go down the road to research it. You get all the way to the edge of making a decision, and then you sit back and hang out in the gray area called maybe. You live in the land of maybe. Do you want to do it? Maybe. I'll check in with my spouse. I'll think about it someday. Like, there are these things, and now there are some, obviously sometimes there are very, very legitimate things that would cause you to not be able to pull the trigger on the thing you want. In which case, just say no. Like, be a yes or a no, because here's the downside of living in maybe. It's exhausting. Like, you have so many open loops in your head from all the things you are a maybe to, for all the things you're on the fence for, that it is exhausting. It is stealing your energy away from the things that actually matter to you. So just be a yes or a no, right? The only reason you would say maybe is because you don't want to hurt the person's feelings, frankly, right? If you don't have the money, then it's a no. Unless you're like, but I really want to. Great, then you're a yes. But I don't have the money. Okay, well then here's where we're stuck, yes? Then you either go find a way to get the money, or you're a no. That's it, right? Okay, here's the third thing I see and don't say. You have grown soft, right? You have grown soft and you cave at the slightest pressure. This one's hard to hear. It is for me anyway. I had this insight a couple years ago where I had a self-reflection. I had gotten soft. Hanging out on my patio in the summers, journaling, reading books, and I wasn't in action around many things, right? I kept contemplating things, but wasn't doing anything. So the third thing I see but don't say for people is that, look, you've grown soft and you're caving at the slightest pressure. Like, grow a spine. Let's go. Like, your day got away from you. Okay, so what? Like, get present right now. Let's go, right? But sometimes we don't do that. We show up and we're kind of like, I don't know. I'm frazzled right now. I can't really like think about what to say right now. Okay. It's time to toughen up. Be present right now. You can push those things out of your mind. You can, right? And this is with anything. This could be coming home and having the kids and family want your attention. This could be you dealing with business pressures. This could be a lot of things. But ultimately, you are a powerful person, and you playing small doesn't serve the world. So acknowledge where you've grown soft, right? And toughen up. Okay, here's the fourth problem that I see and don't say. You are overly self-deprecating. You're overly self-deprecating. I would call it false humility. False humility. You're like, oh, I'm not really that great. Oh, I don't really know if I can do that. Like, there's this very mild and meek, and there's this thing, this self-deprecating thing where it's not only does it make you feel small, but it leaves others uninspired. We don't want to necessarily refer you or do business with you when you're so self-deprecating. It's not attractive. It's not attractive. So just step into your power, right? Step into your power. Stop being so self-deprecating. Step out of false humility and just own what you're good at and own what you're not good at. But we don't need to know all the things you're not good at. So I want to give you some light at the end of this tunnel here, right? Because this is pretty direct feedback. So if any of these have landed for you, if any of these are uncomfortable for you, you might look and just see like, is this something to work on, right? But let me just cast some vision of what life could be like. Like, what would life be like if, right, you were always on time? And because you were on time, you were also prepared. And because you were prepared, people trusted you and they referred you and they opened opportunities for you. And they became your raving fans simply because you were on time. I think you would know yourself as somebody who delivers. Like, you would know yourself as your word, and other people would know you as your word. But when you set a time for something and you're not on time, you're late and unprepared, you're not keeping your word. So imagine life if what you say happens because you are your word. That's amazing. And it is fairly, I was going to say fairly rare. I would guess actually most people in most circumstances can keep their word. But for those that struggle with time, this is a very easy one to fix. And it has massive rewards. Here's the second thing. What would life look like if you take decisive action? Like, if you were just a yes or a no, rather than living in the land of maybes, you were just a yes or a no. It's that simple. You're like, yep or nope. And then you don't have to like carry all the guilt or the whatever conversation happens in your head in the maybe. How many decisions do you have currently open with no decision? Like, how many decisions are you keeping open right now? And if it's a lot, I'm going to suggest that that's draining your energy. So what would life look like if you just took decisive action and you were a yes or a no and you moved on? Here's the third one. What would life look like if you fed on pressure rather than becoming soft, right, and caving with the slightest pressure? You actually fed on pressure. And you took 100% responsibility for your life. So what happens like with pressure is that it comes out sideways as like complaining. But when you take 100% responsibility, there's nothing to complain about because you're the cause of your life. You're the source of your life and your results. So you just step into responsibility. What's cool about that is it actually leaves you feeling powerful. Yeah? All right. And it leaves you powerful in the face of whatever comes at you when you're able to take responsibility. Okay, here's the fourth and final possibility here, right? What would life look like if you owned your power, right? Rather than self-deprecating, false humility, what if you actually owned your power, yeah? Your gifts and your strengths, and you stop downplaying what you have to offer. Like, we all have something to offer. And so part of that comes down to you just stepping into your gifts. That's it. Stepping into your gifts. That's it. We don't need to hear the rest. You just own your gifts and you play in that space, right? All right. So here's how I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm going to drop in the comments below 4 mindsets, 4 principles, 4 psychologies that move you from these challenges to what's possible. Okay, I'm going to drop those in. It'll take me 5 or 10 minutes, so you can come back if you want to see those, or if you're watching the replay of this, then you can just drop down in the comments and see it there. It'll be under 5 minutes, and you can hear the 4 principles or mindsets that move you to this place of owning your power. And let me end with this. Again, you playing small doesn't serve the world. And each one of these things, each one of these problems causes us to play small. And the cool part is, on the flip side, the possibilities actually cause us to rise. And every one of us, the human condition is to rise. And so that's my invitation for you. Again, this is not that I have all the answers. This is me simply sharing what I see and saying it. And you also see things and have the ability to say it to the world. And when you do that, I think we all get to grow together. So with that, have a great evening. See you tomorrow for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us.